Welcome back to Face to Face. I'm John Ralston. We're talking about the case of Emmanuel Dozier, the man who shot 3 SWAT team officers who entered his home. He claims he didn't know they were cops and was trying to protect his family. Join me now, his attorney, Joseph Abboud. Thanks for coming on the program. I really appreciate it. This is a very strange case, but from everything that we've read and what we just heard from the previous guests, are you confident that the police did not identify themselves?
You know, this knock and announce requirement is really a constitutional requirement. That doesn't help them get into the premises. That is just a requirement that's been placed on them by the law before they can break into your house. Now, if they did knock and announce, John, what the 13-year-old daughter heard, who was in the front room right next to that door that was being broken into, was a lot of loud yelling, and the only words she could make out was, "Open the door." In her mind, there were thieves or there were burglars or there were criminals outside trying to break into her house, because at the very same time a shotgun was being used to try to break down that security door that was on that house. So I don't think the question really is whether or not they knocked and announced. What was really going on out there was a lot of yelling, a lot of loud noises, and the sounds of someone breaking into a house. That's what got reported to my client, and he responded.
Now, so what you're saying essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, is they may have announced themselves, but you know, there's all this cacophony of noise out there that this poor kid who's sitting in there watching TV or whatever she's doing hears this pounding on this noise. She gets scared to death, runs back and tells her mom, right?
That's exactly right.
And so, what is it that you think that they didn't do correctly then?
Well, what got reported to my client while he was sleeping in the back room at the furthest point of the house by his 13-year-old daughter was, "Someone is breaking into our home." His wife immediately called 911 to report someone was breaking into my home. The sounds coming from the front door indicate someone is breaking into the home. He is a registered gun owner. John, he used that gun in the way that every American has a right to use a firearm to protect himself and protect his family.
Well, every American doesn't have a right to shoot cops who are trying just to do their job, right?
John, that assumes that he knew that they were police. By the time he made it towards the front door to try to hear what was going on, the only sound he heard was the sound of a window being broken at the front of that house. And that's when he concluded in his mind that he had to take those efforts to protect his family and to protect himself. He could have done nothing, John. But how would he have been able to forgive himself if they really were these criminals trying to break into his house?
If he didn't know there were cops,
that
that part I get. I guess what I'm wondering, and I'll ask you the same question I asked the other attorneys. You've had some experience with the police department. Even if this guy is guilty of what they allege and selling them drugs 3 straight times, it does not seem like that great amount of drugs. There are no drugs in the house except for a little bit of marijuana. Why a SWAT team? Why the big noise? Why the big show?
John, we established at the preliminary hearing that if these sales went down, he's a small-time dealer at best if the state can prove it. And we've also established that the way the sales happened, if they happened, was they simply called him on the telephone, asked him if they could buy the small quantity of cocaine, and he voluntarily walks out of his house to their car, gives them the cocaine, and gets the money. Why they couldn't just make a phone call?
Get him to come out of the house again.
I can't give you the answer to that, John.
Right? Yeah.
I can't give you the answer.
There's something else going on here. That's, I think, what Vicki Greco was saying, right? I mean, there's something.
If anything, he was a small-time dealer, and I think there were a lot less ways that could have been used to take him into custody and serve their search warrant. I think they went overboard in this case, and quite frankly, no one is more saddened by what happened to these SWAT officers than my client is, but this is the position that he was placed in by the way the warrant was being served.
We'll take a break. We're going to talk more to Emmanuel Dozier's attorney when Face to Face returns.